This is Radio TV Phono Nut, and what we have today is a Califone model 1030 AV classroom record player, and it's still in the box and it appears to have never been used. In fact, the only thing I can see filed up, at least from looking at things, is some of the styrofoam protectors that they use in the box for shipping are torn up, but other than that, everything looks good. You can see what I'm talking about there. Outside of the case looks very nice. No nicks or no school magic marker writing or no tarnished hardware, anything like that. It even has that new smell to it. And when we lift the lid, we notice that we still have the Califone warranty registration card, and we have the Califone owner's manual, which you really don't need much of an owner's manual to know how to operate a phonograph, and we still have the inspection tag, and the rubber band is still in place that holds the tone arm lock in position during shipping. So I would say this has never been used. Only there's one slight problem here. When we plug it in, there's no power. It's totally dead. Now, my theory on what happened here is some school bought it. Well, we know a school bought it by what's on the shipping label on the box. They got it. It was dead. They called the agency in which they bought it from, and they just sent them out a new unit instead of making them send the old one back for repair. The only thing I don't like about this is that right there that you can see on the screen. And this is one of the models with a DC drive motor, but seeing as how it hasn't had any use on it, it should have plenty of life left in it, we hope. This is a 3-speed model, 33, 45, and 78 with a play-pause switch, a microphone input, auxiliary input, mic volume, tone, and phonograph volume, and of course an external speaker jack. Has the traditional type Califone tone arm with a little light at the end that illuminates the stylus during record playing. It uses a DC drive motor, which I believe I already said that. I'm not too crazy about those, but you know, it is what it is. And the turntable plier is made of plastic. They also cut corners on the speakers here. The older good ones had 6x9 speakers. This one here has a couple of 4-inch speakers wired in parallel or series. We'll know when I open it up. They're not bad record players, but they're not what the older ones are either. And this was the very last Califone model that looks like a traditional Califone record player. The one after this, the model 1005 AV, is basically just a rebadged Crosley, and we all know how lousy those are. Alright, let's get it to the bench and see if we can find out why it's not powering on. Okay, we're plugged in. Let's turn it on. As you can tell, not a thing's happening. No amplifier noise, no tone arm light, no platter rotation, no nothing. And something like this, there's usually not much that will cause one to be totally dead. It's usually either a blown fuse, bad off-on switch, bad power cord, or bad power transformer, or heaven forbid, that wire that they forgot to solder or put in the wrong place or whatever. So let's open it up and find out what's the deal with this one. Here's the underside, and I'll have to admit it looks real strange seeing this little bitty DC drive motor when I'm used to seeing nice full-sized AC motors in these types of phonographs. Now, this still uses an idler wheel type drive system, but it uses a variable speed control for the motor, so no type of mechanical stepped action for the idler wheel. In the old days, there was a lever to place the wheel on the appropriate section of the motor shaft for the desired speed, but They just vary the speed of the motor in this instance. Okay, have the power switch turned on and our ohm meter leads across the power plug, and I'm getting nothing on the meter, so that tells me the problem is in the primary side, power cord, switch, power transformer, fuse, etc. Okay, I just soldered a good fuse across the old one. We'll plug it into our AC power supply, bring it up slow, and see what happens. Well, not only was the fuse blown, the power switch is also open, so it makes me wonder what really happened to this thing. Did maybe somebody use this for a little while and lightning or something hit it, and then they very carefully placed all the tags and the rubber band back in place to make it look like it'd never been used, and called the factory and said, hey, we got a DOA unit on our hands. Well, for right now, I'm going to jump the power switch and see what it does, but we'll have to try to find something to replace that. Okay, we're powered up and rotating, no smoke. Good amplifier noises. Let's put a record on and see what happens. Okay, there we go. Let's find an LP. Yeah, here's the good old trusty Hap Palmer educational record. They claim this set uses a 10-watt amplifier, but I don't think it's as loud as the older 10-watt models. Of course, we also know these newer speakers are not as efficient as the older speakers that were used in these units. It's microphone volume. But yeah, all we need to do is replace the power switch. And I'm not going to try to do that in this video because I think it's self-explanatory that the switch is bad. And we'll have a good record player. And it's also possible that this set didn't get struck by lightning or a power surge or anything like that. It could be a case of just crappy Chinese parts. I mean, it does happen. I remember one of the discount parts houses that used to send out mail order catalogs sent me a catalog one time, and I ordered some cheap horizontal output transistors for TVs and some cheap voltage regulator ICs. Guess what? Every single one of them were dead out of the box. The voltage regulator ICs did nothing but make me pull my hair out thinking that something else was wrong with the set. The horizontal output transistors all shorted as soon as the power hit them. So sometimes buying low quality cheap parts is not saving you anything. It's actually costing you more in the long run. So that was a valuable lesson for me. I always spend a little more and get genuine parts instead of cheap Chinese knockoffs that either often don't work or won't last very long. Alright, that's it for now.